Have you ever noticed how hard are you on yourself? A pattern I see over and over again in my work as a therapist is self-criticism. So I want to spend some time sharing my thoughts about where it comes from and how to work through it. Whenever I explore with clients what they want to fix or understand about themselves, I encourage them to ask themselves, how old is it? The self-critic is rooted in this belief that we're not enough, a belief that has been formed from different messages we've received throughout our lives, oftentimes as early as childhood. It can be so helpful to go to the origins to understand how this belief was formed. Judgment is a learned behavior. Babies don't come out knowing how to criticize themselves. So ask yourself, where was this learned? What were your experiences with receiving criticism? As early as childhood, was there a parent that was critical of you? Or maybe a teacher, a peer group? Were you ever shamed for anything? Where did you learn that you weren't enough, that you had to be perfect or perform in certain ways and rely on the self-critic to motivate you because you're so afraid to fail? When you criticize yourself, do you hear the voice of a person who has been critical of you? Maybe you didn't receive much criticism before, but you may have learned to criticize yourself from modeling after others. Have you ever witnessed a parent being hard on themselves? Or did you ever witness your parents criticize each other or other people? For example, the self-critic often develops within children of high conflict parents who internalize the criticism their parents throw at each other. Sometimes even just knowing the origins of where your self-critic comes from can be helpful to realize you don't have to be so hard on yourself and to throw that criticism back to where it came from, because it's not your own original voice. But oftentimes it takes much more work, especially if it's been ingrained for years. In therapy, I love to externalize the self-critic by envisioning it as a character. Give your self-critic a name and imagine or even draw out what it looks like. Notice the way it sounds and ask it questions like, what does it fear and what does it need to be soothed? Every time it comes up, say, here's the self-critic going at it again. This allows you to separate it from yourself and see it as a part of you that's not your original voice. It helps you become more aware of it every time it comes up and develop a different relationship with it by tuning in to what it needs. The way we feel towards the self-critic is very important to pay attention to. Sometimes we really hate that it's there. If that's the case, revisit it for another time. For when we're feeling less angry and more curious towards it, we don't want to approach it with frustration or the desire to erase it from existence, but rather understand what it's been trying to do for you. The self-critic is there for a reason. For example, maybe that's the only way you know how to motivate yourself to become better, to be enough. It might not have been very good at its job, but give it acknowledgement for what it's done for you and even compassion for what it's gone through. Help it realize that it can retire from its job. You don't need to rely on the self-critic. You don't need it to prove that you're enough. For another lasting way to heal and improve the relationship with yourself, I encourage you to explore the feelings associated with experiencing or witnessing criticism. Start with different core memories. Explore how you felt experiencing or witnessing criticism. Did you feel frustrated or angry when you were criticized? When a parent was hard on him or herself or to another person, did you feel sad or helpless? See if you can allow yourself to be more aware of the feelings behind the events of criticism. Journaling or talking about your experiences with criticism might be helpful. And if you find yourself only recounting the events instead of connecting with how you felt about it, Do a quick body scan. See if you can feel any sensations in your body that might indicate emotions living in your body, telling you how you felt about it. A lot of people avoid this process of connecting with their feelings because it might be hard to process those memories. In this case, it's really easy to avoid and distract ourselves, but it doesn't bring us any closer to peace or understanding. To help, see if you can set up some time to engage in self-care or talk about it with someone afterwards. It's so important to allow yourself to feel. If you find yourself repeatedly disconnected with how you felt about these formative memories, not only does it perpetuate your belief that you're not enough and thus your self-critic, it can also lead to depression symptoms, which is often when one numbs themselves to how they feel. You need to become aware of your feelings to have a kinder relationship with yourself. Lots of people may say that they don't feel anything about these memories of criticism. I don't think that's always true. Many people are good at suppressing their emotions or didn't have the space to develop the vocabulary to express them. So instead of I don't know how I feel, it's I'm not aware of how I feel, or I don't know how to express how I feel. I'll continue sharing more about how to become more aware of your feelings and how to develop an emotional vocabulary in later videos. But to start, feelings come with messages that can tell you what you need. If you're able to tap into what they're trying to tell you, instead of dismissing them, then you can better give yourself what you need, instead of using the self-critic to motivate you, instead of using the self-critic to endlessly prove your worth in the eyes of others. If you were to be able to give yourself what you need and the love you need, you wouldn't need the self-critic. An example of working through this is you felt really powerless when a parent criticized you. It made you feel really worthless. When connecting with that feeling, you may ask yourself what you really needed at that moment. If you say, I don't know, I challenge you to sit in that feeling a little bit longer. Maybe even ask yourself what would have been helpful instead of what you received from that parent. And then, instead of going to others for what you needed, give it to yourself instead. There's so much more to this topic. It's often a slow process to let go of a deeply ingrained belief that you're not enough, but it is possible. In the next video, we will continue to explore what's at stake if you continue to criticize yourself and ways to develop more self-compassion. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you like content like this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.